Hello, welcome to Ruminations on Tony's Tall Tales. I'm your host, Anthony Pavelich. Thank you so much for joining and listening. It's going to be a good episode today. So, I'm going to talk a little bit, give an update, and I've got something special to share today. I'm going to read a monologue that I wrote some years back for an acting class. And I revisited it recently because I was going through all my files and folders of notes and documents and just doing some rearranging and cleaning things up, um, just to make it organized, a little bit more organized than it had been in some time. And, obviously I was opening all the documents and rereading some of the stuff I had, either written years ago or had been working on recently. And it was nice. It was nice to revisit some of the pieces that I had created and thought it'd be nice to share something because I don't think I've shared much in this journey thus far, but also too, it's been a long time. So we will wrap up the episode with that, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll talk a little bit about too, like kind of the process and what I've been thinking about it as well, revisiting it. So yeah, thank you once again for joining and listening. An update is I am still just crossed 60 days of consistently showing up every day and doing some sort of writing, whether it be something as simple as a journal entry or some stuff on some of the projects I've been working on. Again, it was nice. I think last time I talked a little bit about trying to be more consistent with the showing up and really shifting the goal and the mindset to making it really easy to develop this habit of writing every single day, and then not putting a difficult objective or goal in front of me while I was trying to build it to be something more consistent. So fortunately, it has. Again, there's been days where definitely haven't felt like it, but have been able to do something, and that was really the key. So it's been incredible, 60 days. I've never done it that long, that consistently. I would fall off and either not show up for a very long time or, just too broken. So now after it's crossed the 60 mark, I am now focusing in on really starting to elongate the um, time, and really trying to see if I can one up myself a little bit more and take it to the next level. And again, I keep referencing this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a fantastic resource, and really just been trying to utilize the techniques and the practices in that book to rebuild this habit essentially of what I've been wanting to do. And it'll touch a little bit on our topic today. I entitled this episode as discipline versus motivation. And before we get too deep into that, I'll try and wrap up with the update. It was really great. It's interesting because the Bond script has been on the back burner for a little bit because I just stepped away from it. I was kind of getting a little bit lost, and but this new practice that I've been trying to rebuild has been great because it's allowed me to. Because again, the focus was on not any sort of goal in the sense of the goal was just to show up. It wasn't to put a page count. It wasn't to put like some sort of high obstacle. Like it was the focus was to make the barrier of entry as easy as possible. Because again, it goes back to when you're trying to build a new habit, you need to make it easy in the beginning and just make it so simple and so easy so that way you'll just start showing up. Because that's the real goal is to just start showing up. It's not about a page count, a word count, or any sort of um I gotta do this, I gotta do this. The only thing is I need to show up. Um, and so that was the focus. So, like I talked about before, in order to start trying to build that and make it as easy as possible for me to do it every single day, is I was starting to I had the notebook at my dining room table, and during my lunchtime, I would sit down and eat my lunch, and the notebook was right there. So it was very easy for me to just open it up either while I'm eating or right after I'm eating to then start jotting down. And so there was no sort of, I have to be on the computer or I have to be, it wasn't so much I have to have this perfect environment. It was literally, here's some paper, here's a pencil, there's some pens, and there was no excuse because it was too easy. It was right there in front of me while I'm eating, and I could just, jot something down. And again, it wasn't focusing on I've got to work on this or I've got to write this. It was literally there's some paper. It could be freestyle. I could just write whatever was in my head. It could literally be I'm writing. I don't know what to write about. It could be I had some notes in there from stuff that I'd written before of other projects. So maybe I would just look at it and read it and then start writing some notes on top of that, or writing a scene out, or writing a sentence out, or a paragraph out. And so that was the process in the beginning. And then Elden Ring came out at the end of February, and so did the new season of Destiny 2. So I started finding out that my lunches would be taken up by traversing the worlds in between and the season of The Lost. Or no, we're not. We're on the season of The Risen. So that derailed, but it didn't derail the writing. Thank goodness. It just derailed the time that I did that. So then what my process shifted to, which I found really beneficial, was since I was playing during my lunchtime. Normally, what would happen would I would play after dinner. My wife would have dinner, and we watch like an episode or two of our shows, and then I would play. I would turn on the system and then play for a little bit before bedtime. So since I was doing that in the day, what I ended up doing was I would just shift because I knew now I'd kind of gotten a few weeks in where I was doing this at lunch, that now it was like, oh, I haven't done my writing today. And so it was very easy for me to just not turn the system on. And then basically the writing ended up becoming my process right into my bedtime. So that was really great because I would just get up, I would brush my teeth, and that became the ritual. I would brush my teeth and then I'd prepare for bed, and I would sit down, and I would already have the computer turned on. So again, making it easier. The computer turned on, my final draft or my document was already open. And then I would just look at, and also too, I didn't really force myself in any sort of project. I might reread what I'd written yesterday as like a prompt to get in. But sometimes, I wasn't feeling like writing the script or writing a scene in the novel. I would jump to something else. Maybe I had an idea that day. And also, I noticed that too. In As I was writing, thoughts would be happening out throughout the day about what I'd written, or scenes that I had been working on. That would start germinating, and I'd be thinking about the characters and the scenes and the dynamics and the dilemmas, and that was great because then I would use that too as something to help me navigate into the writing for the night. And again, I wasn't putting any sort of timeline on it. I just would write, and if I felt that I was running out of steam or I could keep going, I would go with that prompt, and then just you know power down, and then I would just my desk one of my desks, I should say. I have 2 desks. I have the working desk outside in the living room, and then I have my smaller desk, kinda like the personal computer desk, in the bedroom right next to the bed. And so after that, then I would just turn out and go to sleep. And so that has kind of been my process. Some days I'll make a note if I'm having something. I've got a pad of paper basically at both desks. So if I have something that pops up, I'll just note it down there. And then at night to try the same thing. It's like brush the teeth, sit down at the desk, and then jot down. Some nights, if the schedule gets a little, like we had a couple of people over the last couple of weeks. So we had, the schedule gets skewed a little bit. Maybe because I might be later than the time that I would normally power down, but or some nights I'm just not feeling it, but I will still write. And instead of doing the computer, I'll just pull out the notebook that I have also too right next to it's in the nightstand, and I'll pull that out and basically I'll write. So that sometime might be my journal entry, or it might be writing again an idea or scene or trying to pick up where I left off the night before. Um, and so that's it. That's my process. I don't write very much, and that's kinda where I wanna do the level up, is I wanna maybe spend more time or maybe do it multiple times throughout the day, um, but I'm gonna try and start integrating that, seeing where that goes. Another thing too is I'm still trying to get a process in place of the actual writing. I signed up for a course that I'm starting to go through to help because I've never had any formal training in any sort of structure. And I'm not saying that you have to have that. I think just for me, I think I'm trying to find, even if it's just an introduction into something, seeing how to formally maybe construct stories. Um, might give me some more structure in how to build and maintain my own process. So again, it might not be something that I might carry over, but there might be a piece, that I can take from it. So I'm going through this course right now. It's all online. It's really great. It's at my own pace too, which is fantastic. So it's not any hard time commitment because that's what I'm too. I'm trying to be careful about taking on too many things because again, I'm still dealing with some mental health care that I'm working on. So there's a lot of therapy that I'm doing, and it's just there's not enough time in the day. It's like it's very quickly gets eaten up, and I still haven't beaten Elden Ring. I really want to beat Elden Ring, but my goodness, it's a time suck. So and then just work. There's work, there's other responsibilities. And then I'm still doing my TM twice daily. So, it's just with life, your responsibilities, everything takes time. And I don't want to be too crazy about committing too much to other things and really trying to take some of that to the writing. But it's going well. It's going really well, and I'm very excited. I've been working on my novel actually the last couple of weeks. That's been fantastic to revisit. I'm going through the first couple of chapters and just yeah, again, it's revisiting some of the stuff that I written so many years ago, and so fantastic to come back at it years later and just, not all of it's as bad as I thought it was, which is great, but then there's a lot of things that, now, like, coming at it with fresh eyes, there's things that I would like to change, and I think it's a fantastic story. I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be my just magna opus. It's gonna take a long time. It's right now, I'm still seeing it as 6 books, and, I think it's gonna be so, so cool. And so really cool getting back into that world and trying to develop it and see where this story takes me. Um, did a little bit of the Bond, been thinking a lot about the ending and, went back to that script and have been constructing some of the ending parts, that's been really cool. Because I was thinking too, like, I have these images in my head of how I want it to end, um, but haven't been able to quite flush them out until recently, which is great. So again, the process around 9:30. Brush my teeth, sit down, bang out like 15, 20, sometimes even 5 minutes. Again, it's the time isn't focusing, is the focus right now. It's just been showing up. So I want to, hopefully in the next update, I'll be able to have some thoughts on improving that, or at least not improving it, but just, elongating it, saying, maybe I'll turn down a little bit earlier and really start getting into some meat and potatoes of it, or maybe I will actually stop breaking a video game during lunch and maybe go back to doing some of the writing during lunchtime. So that is the update. Thank you for letting me drone on about that. Definitely, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to provide any experience that I can about it. Um, yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been great, and we'll dive into that more. Um, and it ties into what I wanted to talk about with the discipline versus motivation aspect of it. And really, it's getting back to the heart of the matter. Is it just comes back to balance? It's very we can't be so stringent where we don't allow ourselves to break from a structure, in the sense that we again, like, I was on the James Bond script so rigidly, like, I was almost forcing myself, it's like, I can't work on anything else, except for this script, and I'm just gonna bang it out. And maybe that works for some people, maybe, and that might be the process that somebody else has, uncovered for themselves. And I think with the combination of me struggling to be consistent and not having my own, um, writing process, because I just don't have a lot of experience, going through it, because I haven't been consistent going through it, that it was a struggle for me to just, charge forward, very aggressively, and just, inflexible. So discipline might not have been so great for me on one extreme, but I did need discipline in order to continue to maintain the grind, to show up. And motivation is great, because it's a drive and it's an intent, but it's very fleeting. Motivation quickly goes away when you come up against something that's uncomfortable, that is unenjoyable, and that isn't doesn't reap benefits very quickly. Um, and these are the things I kind of want to get into a little bit, and then we will jump into the little monologue that I want to share. But before we go too much deeper, I would like to pause because we want to share a message from the Ruminations Radio Network. So we'll be right back in just a few seconds.
Hey kids, it's Don Shanahan from the Cinephile Hissy Fit, one of the podcasts on the Ruminations Radio Network. If you've been enjoying this show, come listen to Will Johnson and I fight it out over cinema's best and worst on the Cinephile Hissy Fit. Find us and all the great shows over on ruminationsradionetwork.com.
And we are back. Thank you so much for listening to that great message from uh, the Ruminations Radio Network. Um, so yeah, it was very interesting for me to work through this, because that's what I found. Motivation was very fleeting because, you just didn't feel like it. You could create some excuse. Well, it's not going to be fun, or it's not enjoyable, or I'm feeling too tired, or I got too much else to do, or it's just all these bullshit excuses that come up. And so that's why you cannot rely solely on motivation to get you to do anything, because if you rely on motivation as your catalyst to do something of great value, you're setting yourself up for failure. And not that failure itself is bad, but that you're setting yourself up to a barrier of entry that is just insurmountable, like, that is just too fickle. And so that's why it's very important that we have to focus on some sort of discipline, because this whole notion of you'll find something that you love to do because you'll enjoy it and you'll never feel like you're working. It's bullshit. There's always going to be some aspect of whatever it is that you do that's going to be a grind. It's going to feel like work. And that doesn't mean that you won't love, or that you don't love what you're doing, that you got to be in this constant state of bliss of what it is that you're doing. It's just not the reality of of anything. No matter, it can be a football player, it could be a carpenter, it can be anything that you are building or doing. It's just, there's going to be some days that just feels like a fucking slog, and that is okay. It's all right. It's gonna feel like a fucking slog. My wife is an amazing photographer and has been doing this business that she has run herself for over 10 years. And she absolutely loves photography. But there are days where it just feels like a fucking slog. And not every day she's shooting. She's not doing the actual shooting every single day. There's so much other work involved a lot of the other times. She's got editing to do, she's gotta travel to and from shoots, she's got, emails to respond to, billing to take care of, invoicing. It's not roses and cupcakes every single day, and so that's why we can't rely on motivation as our inspiration. I've got to be motivated to write. Got to be motivated to write this scene out and to feel what these characters know. And I can tell you, in the 60 days that I've been consistent, I can tell you that I don't feel motivated a lot of the fucking time. Um, and that some days I'm looking at what I'm writing, it's like, man, this does not, don't know where I'm going with this. This doesn't make it. There's literally lots of times where I'm writing stuff and I'm deleting it right after I write it. This sounds like crap, or this doesn't look good. And sometimes I just leave it. Sometimes I'm like, well, this is the best that I got right now. Sometimes I will just delete it and I think of something new or something better. Some days I write a fucking sentence and I'm staring at the screen and don't know what else to write. Um, some days I haven't done the writing and that time is getting closer. I'm like, oh, bedtime's getting really close and I haven't done anything. And I don't want to work on any of it. None of it sounds good. And or I'm stuck on this stupid scene, or I don't know where to go next. And it's not fun. Um, and I can only imagine what it's like for writers with deadlines. Um, and what they must feel like when they're feeling the same things and they can't rely on motivation. Again, it comes back to, you cannot rely on motivation 100% to get you to do something that you want to do. Um, Now, motivation is great if you aspire to do something, that you longing to do, but you need discipline in order to grind out the work on the days and the times when you don't feel like doing the work. Um, we have in our house for 2022, we've been doing it for a couple years now. We have a motto that we decide on for the year, and we have a board that we write this motto on. and it's in our living room so we can see it every day. And our motto for 2022 has been do the damn work. There's no excuse, or we can make excuses, but there's no excuse for if you want to change something in your life, you need to do the damn work. And just know it's going to be fucking terrible. But that's fine. That's great. Because through that terrible work, you're going to get something that you want. You're going to get some value and reward from that effort. There's no such thing as, it's physics. You can't put input into something that is zero and expect something of value or something more than zero to come out. It does not work. So you have to put in the damn work if you want the damn results. And so that's really what we've been trying to focus in on and key in on and just not shy away from. So the discipline has been helping um, to set intention, or to help set intention, and to stay consistent. And now it's become a habit. It's easier now. It's I feel weird if I don't do it. I feel like something is incomplete if I don't. So just the idea now of like not putting in that or showing up and putting in, now what I want to do is put in more work. Because obviously I've been doing bits of work, and now I really want to utilize more discipline and putting in more work so I can reap more rewards and benefits from the effort that I'm putting in. Um, but that's where again, when we say that we have problems with habits, or I can't maintain a good habit, uh, it's not a problem. It's not a problem because of motivation. Don't look at motivation as the solution. Look at what you can do with discipline. It's very easy to be lazy. It's very easy to make excuses. It's very easy to be too critical on ourselves. Discipline is hard, because discipline, and I want to bring this up because I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning. Discipline, the definition of discipline, the first definition is control gained by enforcing obedience or order. The second definition is orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern of behavior. And the third one is self-control. So it's a mindset, it's an enforcement of behavior and obedience, um, and self-control. Motivation, the definition for motivation is the act or process of motivating, the condition of being motivated, a motivating force, stimulus, or influence. And again, you can tell by just these definitions that motivation is a lot more fleeting. It's a lot more um, prescribed to something that can be very easily dismissed. While discipline is a lot more, there's words: enforcing, orderly, self-control. These are a lot more powerful meanings and intentions behind that. And I really keyed in on number two: orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern behavior, because it dovetails nicely within the framework of the atomic habits. And that way, again, we don't have to go so extreme where we're so rigid and we're so controlling and we're so brutal. Like discipline can be very brutal, overly um, brutal. But if we utilize it to direct focused attention and energy to what it is we want to accomplish, and then complement it with new habits, a new pattern of behavior, then it allows us to really leverage I think the power of discipline, um, to be to allow us to do quality. Um, I guess I don't want to get too. I think I'm getting too rambly about it, but it allows us to focus. It's just focused attention and effort, um, to really just get our hands dirty. That's really just what it comes down to is being okay and striving to get our hands dirty. And I think that's a great way to sum it up and to probably wrap it up. Um, and I think these are the things that I think about, and I'm just trying to leverage ways to make myself achieve what it is that I want to achieve. And it's so easy to make excuses for not doing that. And it's so easy to say that the work is hard. Um, and then we miss out on the benefits that we can achieve, if we just did a little bit of extra effort and work. We're a little bit more disciplined with staying that course. Thank you for listening to me to ramble on and just kind of, I think it was a stream of consciousness of what I've been, contemplating. So now, as we close out the episode, I'd like to share with you a monologue that I called Magic. I'd come up with this idea because I was doing a lot of writing in my acting class. I was bringing works in to perform and work on. And this idea struck me because I can't even remember exactly where it came from. I just was thinking of somebody who could be telling a tale, and these images started appearing, and I started jotting them down and try to construct it into some sort of uh, monologue. So the name of the character speaking is the Traveler. I'll go right into it. My brother and I ran through the fields of Keylor. Scents of lavender and lilac filled our lungs beneath the warmth of a cloudless day. The rough-looking kite we made up from a patchwork of materials rode along the waves of the wind, its tethered string held fast in the fist of my brother's hand. Dashing forth ahead of me, our faces beaming in between the brisk pace of our breaths. On and on the fields traversed, nearly ageless in their view. And I watched this kite bump back and forth in a fantastic chaotic dance, the threads of its materials screaming to rip apart under the stresses of a forceful flight. I gazed up at this marvel of physics and recalled the realms of my dreams, wherein I witnessed the powers of strange and wondrous things, creatures of flight and vast scale, lands teeming with energy and life, realms in which I saw magic. And then I saw it. I held out my hand to grab the glowing orb floating in front of me. Its translucent rainbow-colored shimmer hypnotized my sight. The orb brushes against my fingers when I hear the scream. My vision warps and fractures. I return to the sun-drenched fields. I return to the sky, a kite in the sky. I return to my brother. I hear him screaming, and I watch as his hand burns. I watch as the sky darkens and the sun rots and bleeds red. Everything you think you know about magic is wrong. It is not the candy drop, feel good fairy tale goop we thought we knew. It is something else, something dark, wicked, something I am becoming, something else. And that's it. I've been struggling a little bit with the ending, trying to figure out the best way. There's something the feeling. of it trailing off yet that I haven't quite or haven't felt quite clicked 100%. Still playing around with that, the ending. But yeah, these images, this I've been seeing this character, building in my mind, and I've been adding some things before and kind of there's another little scene that I've been writing, and yeah, I'm trying to see where this goes, and, maybe I'll share that other scene once I'm finishing up with it, next time. Um, I think there's this idea and this story brewing and forming, so appreciate you allowing me to share this, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if not, it's totally fine as well. But, yeah, that concludes the episode. Thank you so much. You've been listening to Ruminations on Tony's Tall Tales, a production of, the Ruminations Radio Network. Please take this moment to subscribe, rate, and review our show, and I would love to connect with you on social media. You can find me at Tony's Tall Tales. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and then please visit the Ruminations Radio Network. That's ruminationsradionetwork.com for additional great shows such as Retro Futurist Culture and Cinephile Hissy Fit and Brevity Box and Ruminations of Red Rum. Man, the just episodes are great. So many great uh, castmates and show hosts. And for all your burning questions and passionate feedback, drop us a line at ruminationsradio@gmail.com. And we've opened up a Patreon, so please check out our Patreon. You can find that link on ruminationsradionetwork.com. Thanks again so much for listening. Keep it real. Be gentle with yourselves, but don't shy away from the work. Keep grinding. Keep stepping, and like Bruce Lee used to say, "Walk on." Take care, everybody. Cheers.